I recently faced my own worst nightmare. The HOA president's son just tried to take my Harley and cried to his mom when I told him no. And the reason, she said the board approved temporary custody? For a compliance check. Funny thing is, the only thing tested that day was my willpower not to throw a wrench at their heads. Let me start from the beginning. The sunlight hits the chrome, and for a second, my driveway looks like a stage. A bad community theater stage. On one side me, black leather jacket, red undershirt, jeans, boots planted firm on the oil-stained concrete. Next to me, my bike, an '06 Dyna, red tank, chrome everywhere, clean and loud without shouting. 88 cubic inches of American iron my grandpa left me. It's not just a machine, it's a memory. It's the last real thing I have of him. On the other side, the antagonist, Sharon Vance, president of our esteemed homeowners association, stands with her arms crossed. Her pink jacket is so bright it hurts my eyes. It screams fake cheerfulness. Next to her, her son Cody, a tall kid maybe 16 drowning in a gray hoodie, blue shirt, and a smirk playing on his lips like he's watching a show he already knows the ending to. In the background, 2 police officers stand on the curb by the lawn. They look bored. They've seen this movie before. They just want it to be over so they can get back to real police work. The air is thick with the smell of freshly cut grass and self-righteous indignation. It's a smell I've gotten used to in this neighborhood. This bike, Sharon says, her voice sharp enough to cut glass, is a nuisance. It's a violation. And as of this moment, Mr. Foster, it is ours now. She taps Cody's shoulder. He turns 17 next month. He'll keep it quiet and safe. We're taking possession for him. Cody mutters, "Mom said you'd give it to me anyway." She points a perfectly manicured finger at the bike. The sheer audacity of it almost makes me laugh. Almost. Cody's smirk widens. He thinks this is a done deal. He thinks his mom holds all the cards. I just look at her. I don't raise my voice. I don't get angry. Anger is a waste of energy. My grandpa taught me that. He was a mechanic, a man who believed in process and order. Fix the problem, he'd say. Don't yell at it. So, I wait for her to finish her little speech. She goes on about noise ordinances she wrote herself, about aesthetic violations, about the supposed dozens of complaints from anonymous neighbors who I know for a fact have never said a word to me. The 2 cops shift their weight. One of them, the older one with a tired mustache, finally steps forward. He's the lead. "Ma'am," he says to Sharon, his tone flat, professional. "We're here because you reported a vehicle in violation of a lien you claim the HOA has placed on it." He then turns to me. "Sir, is this your vehicle?" I nod. I don't say a word. I just reach into my jacket pocket and pull out a crisp, clear plastic sleeve. Inside is the title, the registration, my insurance card, all of it laminated. I keep tight paperwork. It's a habit from my years turning wrenches in a shop. If you don't document it, it didn't happen. I hand the sleeve to the officer. He takes it, his eyes scanning the documents. He walks over to the bike, crouches down, and compares the VIN on the title to the VIN stamped on the neck of the frame. A perfect match. He snaps a photo of the VIN next to my title for his report. Of course it is. He stands up and hands the sleeve back to me. "The vehicle is legally registered to Mr. Foster," he says, looking back at Sharon. "The title is clean. No liens from any financial institution and no liens on file with the DMV." Sharon's face tightens. The fake smile evaporates. "But our bylaws. The fines. We have a lien for unpaid fines," she insists, her voice rising an octave. The officer shakes his head slowly. "That's a civil matter, ma'am. An HOA fine doesn't give you the right to seize personal property without a court order. We can't take his motorcycle. There's no probable cause to believe a crime has been committed. He's on his own property. He's by the book. I appreciate that. Too many people aren't." Cody's smirk finally fades, replaced by a confused frown. This wasn't in the script his mother gave him. He looks from the cop to his mom, waiting for her to fix it, to pull some other rule out of her designer handbag. But she's got nothing for now. Her power, the only thing she truly cares about, has just been publicly checked. She stands there, sputtering about lawyers and board authority. The cop just gives her a patient, weary look. "Our involvement here is done," he tells her. He reads me an incident number and logs it as a civil dispute. No probable cause, no seizure. He turns to his partner. They walk back to their cruiser. Sharon isn't used to being told no. Her entire world is built on the flimsy authority of the HOA rulebook she wields like a weapon. She looks at me, and her eyes are cold. The public performance is over. This is a promise, a threat. "This isn't over, Leo," she says, her voice a low hiss. I just give her a slow, deliberate nod. I know people like her don't give up. They just change tactics. They find a back door. They work in the shadows. The police cruiser pulls away from the curb, leaving the three of us in the quiet afternoon sun. Cody, now looking uncomfortable, tugs on his mom's sleeve. She yanks her arm away, never taking her eyes off me and my bike. She's memorizing every detail, calculating her next move. I can almost hear the gears turning in her head. She failed in the light of day with witnesses in uniform. Her next attempt would be different. It would come in the dark. Uncle Al shuffles up the driveway with a leaf blower and a $20 decibel meter. Science time, he says. He fires the blower. 92 dB. He points at my Dyna. Start it. I bump the starter, let it idle. He holds the meter at the curb like a referee. 79. He nods, proud. Quieter than Sharon's crew. Elena Alvarez leans over her fence with a thumbs up. A kid on a scooter yells, "Cool bike, mister." I shut it down. The street goes still again. The numbers help more than anger does. Paper beats volume. Proof beats yelling. This whole mess didn't start today. It started the day Sharon Vance decided this neighborhood was her personal kingdom. I've lived here for 5 years. Bought this modest little house because it had a 2-car garage and was close to the highway. It was quiet, peaceful, a place to come home to after a long day, clean the grease from under my fingernails, and have a cold beer in my own backyard. For the first couple of years, it was exactly that. The HOA was just a formality, a thing you pay dues to for landscaping the common areas. Then, Sharon got herself elected president. She ran on a platform of protecting our property values. What that really meant was enforcing her personal preferences on everyone else. It started small. Fines for leaving your garbage cans out an hour too long. Nasty letters about the wrong shade of white on your window trim. My neighbor, Uncle Al, a retiree who spends all day tending his garden, got a $200 fine for a non-conforming lawn ornament. It was a fishing gnome. A gnome. Sharon has this way of making the ridiculous sound reasonable. She cloaks her power grabs in the language of community and order. She's smart, I'll give her that. She knows how to manipulate the bylaws, twisting vague phrases into concrete threats. She has a small, loyal group on the board who rubber stamp whatever she wants, either because they're intimidated or because they enjoy the crumbs of power she throws their way. Most residents just pay the fines to make her go away. They're too busy with their jobs, their kids, their lives to fight a $50 penalty for grass that's a quarter-inch too high. They grumble. They complain to each other over the fence. But they don't fight. Fighting takes time and energy. And Sharon has an endless supply of both when it comes to controlling her little fiefdom. My trouble started about 6 months ago. The first notice appeared in my mailbox, a crisp white envelope with the HOA logo. It was a warning. My motorcycle, it said, was a commercial-grade vehicle and was not to be parked in the driveway for more than 4 hours. I read it and laughed. A Harley is not a commercial vehicle. It's a motorcycle. I wrote a polite, formal letter back, citing the state vehicle code that defines commercial vehicles. I included a copy of the bike's registration. I put it all in a neat folder. Folder 1, tab 1. A week later, another notice. This one was a $100 fine. The reason had changed. Now the bike was a source of excessive noise. This I knew was also garbage. My bike has baffles. It's a deep rumble, not a window-shattering scream. It's quieter than the lawn crew Sharon herself hired. I went to the next HOA meeting. I stood up and presented my case calmly. I pointed out that the noise complaint wasn't tied to a specific time or date, and that the bike complied with all state and local decibel level ordinance. Sharon smiled that tight, condescending smile of hers, and said the board would take my comments under advisement. The fine stood. I didn't pay it. Instead, I filed it. Folder 1, tab 2. The notices kept coming. The reasons became more and more absurd. Aesthetic blight. Leaking of hazardous fluids on a bike that has never leaked a drop of anything in its life. The fines piled up. Each notice was more threatening than the last. They were building a paper trail, trying to create a justification for something bigger. I knew it. I just didn't know what her endgame was. After the standoff in the driveway today, I do. It's not about the money. It's not about the noise. It's about the bike itself. It's a symbol of something she can't control. It's loud. It's chrome. It's freedom. It doesn't fit into her sterile, beige vision of the perfect suburban street. My grandpa, he would have understood. He used to say that some people are so desperate to build a perfect cage for themselves, they can't stand to see anyone else flying free. Sharon Vance wants me in a cage. She wants my bike gone. She wants to win. I sit in my garage that night, the door closed, a single bare bulb hanging from the ceiling. The bike is parked in the center of the floor, the chrome gleaming even in the dim light. I run a hand over the fuel tank. It's cool to the touch. I check the little black disc I stuck under the seat months ago. An AirTag, a tiny, simple piece of tech, a digital leash, just in case. I check the angle on my garage camera, the one pointed down the driveway. Its little red light is on. It's watching, waiting. The police leaving today wasn't the end. It was an intermission. I know people like Sharon. A public failure doesn't make them quit. It makes them dig in. It makes them angry. And an angry person with a little bit of power is the most dangerous thing in the world. The sun has set. The street lights have flickered on. The neighborhood is settling down for the night. But I know she's out there somewhere, plotting. And I know her next move won't be a public spectacle. It will be quiet. It will be illegal. It will be tonight. It happens at 2:17 a.m. I'm not asleep. I'm in my armchair, watching the live feed from my doorbell camera on my tablet. I've been expecting company. A notification pops up on my phone. Motion detected in the driveway. On the screen, a dark, unmarked flatbed tow truck is backing slowly up to my garage. No lights. The engine is a low growl, barely audible. This isn't a standard repo job. This is a snatch and grab. Two figures get out. They're dressed in dark clothes, hoodies up, faces obscured. They move with a practiced efficiency that's unsettling. One acts as a lookout while the other gets to work on the garage door. I don't have a fancy security system, just good old-fashioned deadbolts and a heavy door. But they aren't trying to break in. They have a tool, a thin, long piece of metal. They slide it under the door, fishing for the emergency release cord. It's a common vulnerability. A minute later, I hear the click. The door is disconnected from the opener. They lift it manually, just enough to get inside. The garage is dark, but the truck's residual light catches the chrome of the Harley. They don't waste a second. They wheel it out, silent as ghosts. No alarms, no fuss. They have straps ready on the flatbed. They lash it down quickly, expertly. The whole operation takes less than 5 minutes. They lower the garage door, get back in the truck, and pull away. The street is silent again, as if they were never there. My heart isn't pounding. My hands aren't shaking. I feel a strange, cold calm settle over me. It's the feeling you get when the thing you've been waiting for finally happens. The dread is gone, replaced by a clear, sharp sense of purpose. This is what she does. This is who she is. She couldn't win in the light, so she sent thieves in the night. It's not about bylaws anymore. It's grand theft. I save the video footage from the garage cam. It's high definition. I zoom in on the truck as it pulls away. The license plate is dirty, but the camera's night vision is good enough. I can make out the numbers and letters clearly. I write them down. Another piece of paper for the file. Then I open the Find My app on my phone. For a moment, the AirTag under the Harley's seat shows its last known location, my house. Then it updates. The little blue dot starts moving. It stalls once, then jumps. AirTags ping when a nearby phone passes. Plenty of traffic by this lot. It crawls down my street, turns onto the main road, and heads south. It's working. The digital breadcrumb trail is live. I grab my keys, my leather jacket, and head out to my truck. I don't call 911. Not yet. A stolen vehicle report at this hour will get me a patrol officer in maybe an hour, a case number, and not much else. They have bigger fish to fry. This fish is mine. I need to see where it goes. I need to know where they're taking it. The law works best when you hand it a complete, undeniable package. Right now, I'm just starting to wrap it. I follow the dot on my phone. It's not a high-speed chase. I stay a few blocks behind, my headlights off whenever I can, letting the app guide me. The tow truck isn't speeding. It's moving like any other vehicle on the road, trying not to draw attention. It heads for the industrial part of town, a place of warehouses and empty lots. After about a 20-minute drive, the dot stops moving. It settles in a location I know. It's a defunct strip mall, one of those sad, forgotten places with boarded-up windows and a parking lot full of weeds. The kind of place things go to disappear. I park my truck a block away and walk the rest of the way, sticking to the shadows. I pull my phone out and switch to the camera. It's time to be a witness to my own crime scene. A motion light pops on. My shadow leaps across the wall. I freeze behind a busted ice machine. A cat knocks a bottle over. It rolls and clinks like a bell. One of the tow guys half turns, then shrugs and climbs in the cab. The truck idles, coughs, dies, then restarts with a rattling belt. I'm filming through a crack in the fence, breathing slow. A security car drifts by on the far street. I duck so fast my knee hits a sprinkler head. Pain blooms. I don't swear. The camera stays steady. When the flatbed finally pulls away, I'm still rolling. My Harley sits alone by the dumpster, paint catching the light like a heartbeat. I peek around the corner of the last building. There it is. The flatbed truck is parked in the darkest corner of the lot, away from the street lights. The two figures are unstrapping my bike. They wheel it off the ramp and push it behind a large, graffiti-covered dumpster, out of sight from the main road. My bike, my grandpa's bike, hidden behind a dumpster like a piece of trash. A surge of hot, raw anger flashes through me, the first real emotion I've felt all night. I fight it down. Emotion is a liability. Methodical. That's how you win. The two men get back in their truck and, without a backward glance, they drive off, leaving my Harley alone in the dark. I stay put. Phone recording, my breath misting in the cool night air. The first part of her plan is complete. The bike is gone. Now comes the second part, the part where she thinks she can finally break me. The sun isn't even up yet, but I'm already on my third cup of coffee. I'm sitting at my kitchen table, the air still and quiet. In front of me is my laptop. On the screen is a clear, wide shot of the dark strip mall parking lot. My Harley is a faint silhouette behind that dumpster. I've been recording all night using my phone's camera, propped up carefully on the dashboard of my truck from a safe distance. The tow truck left hours ago. Nothing has moved since. The AirTag still shows the bike right where they left it. It feels like a piece of me is out there, sitting in the cold. I called the non-emergency police line about an hour ago. I gave them the story. My motorcycle was stolen, and I have its current location via a tracking device. The dispatcher was professional, but sounded tired. She took my information, gave me a report number, and said an officer would be dispatched to the location to verify. "Sir, do not approach the vehicle yourself," she warned, her voice a monotone script. "Wait for the officers to arrive." I told her I would. I have no intention of playing hero. That's how you get hurt, or worse, how you get a case thrown out. I'm not just a victim here. I'm the primary witness. My credibility has to be rock solid. So I wait. The sun starts to rise, painting the sky in shades of gray and orange. Finally, a police cruiser pulls into the strip mall lot. I watch on my screen as two officers get out. They approach the dumpster cautiously. One of them shines a powerful flashlight behind it. The beam catches the chrome. They found it. One officer speaks into his radio, while the other starts looking around the area. They're doing their jobs, securing the scene. They run the plate, which I had already given the dispatcher. It will come back as registered to me. They confirm the VIN. Another piece of the puzzle clicks into place. The officer who arrives at my house about an hour later is the same one from the standoff yesterday, the older guy with the mustache. He recognizes me. A flicker of something, maybe sympathy, maybe just exhaustion, crosses his face. "Mr. Foster," he says, "we seem to be seeing a lot of each other." I invite him in. I show him my camera footage of the theft, the dark truck, the obscured faces, the clean, professional way they took the bike. I give him the license plate number I got from the video. He writes it all down in his little notebook. "We recovered the vehicle," he confirms. "It's being taken to the city impound lot as evidence. You'll be able to get it back once we process the scene." He tells me what I already know. A stolen vehicle case with no witnesses and disguised suspects is a tough one to crack. They'll run the tow truck's plate, but it will probably come back to a shell corporation. It's a dead end unless they get a break. "Thanks, officer," I say, shaking his hand. "I appreciate the help." He nods and leaves. Now the bike is safe. It's in police custody. That's good. But this is far from over. This was never just about stealing the bike. It was about leverage. Sharon thinks she has me cornered. She thinks I'm a desperate victim, scared, and willing to do anything to get my property back. She's about to play her hand, and I need to be ready to record it. My phone rings late that afternoon. The caller ID is blocked. I let it ring twice, take a deep breath, and tap the screen. "Hello," I say, my voice neutral. I walk over to the small digital voice recorder I keep on my desk and press the record button. It's a one-party consent state. As long as I'm part of the conversation, it's legal for me to record it. "Leo, it's Sharon Vance." Her voice is smooth as silk, dripping with phony concern. "I heard about what happened. It's just terrible. This neighborhood is really going downhill." I don't say anything. I just let her talk. Let her build her own trap. "It's such a shame," she continues. "The police, you know, they rarely recover these things. And if they do, the impound fees are just astronomical." She pauses, letting the bait hang in the air. This is the moment. The pivot from concerned neighbor to shark. I can feel it coming. She thinks I don't know where my bike is. She thinks I'm helpless. The dawning realization hits me with the force of a physical blow. The theft, the hiding spot. It was all just theater, a way to create a problem that only she could solve. It wasn't a dead end. It was an invitation. But you know, Leo, Sharon says, her voice dropping to a confidential whisper. There might be a way to resolve all of this for everyone's benefit. I stay silent. The best thing to do when someone is digging their own grave is to hand them a bigger shovel. I know this call is the whole point of the exercise. This is the real crime. The theft was just the setup. The extortion is the punchline. She thinks she's being clever, but all I can hear is the sound of a predator closing in, completely unaware that its prey is sitting in a steel trap. I have connections, she says, a touch of pride in her voice. Sometimes when things go missing, they have a way of turning up, especially when the owner shows a little. Community spirit. Community spirit. That's a new one. I make a non-committal sound, a little grunt to let her know I'm still listening. I need her to spell it out. I need it to be unmistakable. Before this call came in, I had made another one. My first call right after the police left was to Paul Jennings. Paul works in the white-collar crime division of the state attorney's office. I know him through a mutual friend. We've shared a few beers, talked about old cars and bikes. He's a good guy, a straight shooter. I told him the whole story, from the first HOA notice to the overnight theft. He listened patiently. When I got to the part about the standoff with the cops, he got quiet. When I told him the bike had been stolen hours later, he said 2 words, pattern of coercion. He told me to expect a call from her. He said it would be the key. She's going to try to extort you, Paul said. Whatever you do, keep her on the line. She's going to offer you a deal. Keep her talking. We're a one-party consent state. Record your call. I'll join on a 3-way from the office, so our system captures it with your consent. So, as Sharon talks, I know Paul is on the line, our office system recording with my consent. My handheld recorder is backup. What kind of community spirit are you talking about, Sharon? I ask, playing the part of the confused victim. I make my voice sound a little shaky, a little desperate. Look, I just want my bike back. I'll do whatever it takes. That's the magic phrase. It's blood in the water for a shark like her. Well, she says, her tone brightening. You know, there are those outstanding fines. A few thousand, I believe. It's all very messy. Lawyers, court dates. It's a headache. She pauses for dramatic effect. But what if it could all just go away? I can picture her on the other end, a smug smile on her face, thinking she has me right where she wants me. How? I ask. The association supports several wonderful charities, she says, the words rolling off her tongue with practiced ease. There's one in particular, a youth outreach program, that could really benefit from a donation. A vehicle donation. I let the silence stretch. You want me to donate my Harley? I ask, making sure the words are clear. You want me to sign over the title of my stolen motorcycle to a charity? She chuckles, a dry, unpleasant sound. It's not stolen, Leo. It's just misplaced. Think of it as a donation. You sign over the title to the bike, we get it to the charity, and I will personally see to it that all of your fines are waived. The entire slate wiped clean. No more letters, no more trouble. You'll be a member of the community in good standing. Everyone wins. There it is. Quid pro quo. The offer. The crime neatly packaged and delivered on an official recording made with my consent. She's offering to resolve a theft that she orchestrated in exchange for the title to the stolen property. It's cleaner and more damning than I could have ever hoped for. Let me think about it, I say, trying to sound like I'm actually considering her insane, illegal offer. I need to make some calls. Her voice hardens instantly. The velvet glove comes off. There's nothing to think about, Leo. The offer is on the table today. Tomorrow, who knows where that bike will be. Parts get sold. Things disappear for good. I'd hate to see that happen to such a beautiful machine. You have until 5 o'clock. She hangs up. The line goes dead. For a moment, I just sit there in the silence of my kitchen. The trap has been sprung, and the predator is inside. Paul Jennings shows up at my house an hour later. He's not in a suit. He's wearing jeans and a polo shirt, looking more like a weekend dad than a prosecutor. But his eyes are sharp, analytical. He's carrying a briefcase. She took the bait, he says as he walks in. It's not a question. Hook, line, and sinker. I reply, handing him my small digital recorder. Here's my backup. He pulls a laptop from his briefcase and sets it up on my kitchen table. This is the official recording, he says, playing the file. We listen to the whole conversation again. Sharon's voice fills the room, confident and condescending. Hearing it a second time, knowing it's all been captured legally, sends a wave of relief through me. This isn't just my word against hers anymore. This is hard evidence. It's beautiful, Paul says with a grim smile. It's a textbook case of extortion. She linked the return of stolen property directly to the forgiveness of manufactured debts and the donation of that same property. She's toast. He opens his briefcase again and pulls out a series of folders. It's time to assemble the weapon. We spend the next 2 hours laying everything out, piece by meticulous piece. It's an assembly line of justice. First, my paperwork. The original title for the Harley-Davidson, clean and clear, with my name on it, notarized when I inherited it from my grandpa. The current registration and insurance. The foundation. This establishes without a doubt that I am the legal and sole owner. Next, the HOA file. I hand him my binder. It's thick. Every single violation notice Sharon ever sent me, filed in chronological order. The commercial vehicle notice, the excessive noise fines, the aesthetic blight letters. Beside each notice is a copy of my formal written response. It shows a clear pattern of harassment, a systematic campaign to build a fraudulent basis for action against me. Paul flips through the pages, nodding slowly. This is great, Leo. You did the work. You established a record of contesting these claims reasonably and legally. Then comes the digital evidence. Paul plugs a thumb drive into his laptop. First, the video from my garage camera. We watch the silent, professional theft again. He has me pause it, and we get a crystal clear screenshot of the tow truck's license plate. Plate number checks out to a company called Apex Asset Recovery, Paul says, reading from his notes. It's a shell. One director address is a P.O. box, but we'll get to that. Next, the AirTag data. He pulls up a map. A neat, clean line shows the path the bike took from my driveway to the abandoned strip mall. It's an unbroken chain of custody, digitally documented. This is our smoking gun for the theft itself, he says. It links the point of origin directly to the dump site. Incontrovertible. The final piece of evidence comes from an unexpected source. As Paul and I are working, my doorbell rings. It's my next-door neighbor, Elena Alvarez. She's a sweet older lady who I always say hello to. She's holding her phone. Leo, she says, her voice a little nervous. I saw what they did last night. I was on my porch. I couldn't sleep. She shows me her phone. She had been sitting in the dark on her porch swing and recorded the whole thing from a different angle. Her video is shaky, but it clearly shows the unmarked truck, the 2 men, and them wheeling my Harley down the driveway. It corroborates my footage perfectly. Another witness. Another nail. Paul is ecstatic. Mrs. Alvarez, you may have just become the star witness for the prosecution, he tells her gently. She just nods, happy to help. We put it all together. The title and VIN. The mountain of bogus HOA notices. The AirTag map. The high-resolution photo of the tow plate. My camera footage. Elena's corroborating video. And the crown jewel. The full, legally recorded transcript of Sharon's extortion call. It's a complete narrative of a crime, from motivation to execution to the attempted cover-up. Paul packs it all away, a neat and tidy package of legal dynamite. Okay, he says, closing his briefcase. We have everything we need to go the official route. Warrants, arrests, a whole court case. It would take months, maybe a year, but she'd go down. He pauses, looking at me. Or, he says, a sly glint in his eye, we can let her convict herself in the court of public opinion first. The HOA has a monthly meeting next week, doesn't it? The week leading up to the HOA meeting is the quietest I've ever experienced in this neighborhood. It's the calm before the storm. I follow Paul's advice to the letter. I act like a man who has been defeated. I let my lawn go a little, just enough to be noticeable. When I see Sharon supervising the landscaping crew, I just nod grimly and go back inside. I need her to believe she's won. I need her to walk into that meeting feeling untouchable, arrogant. An overconfident enemy is a predictable enemy. Paul and I meet twice more, not at my house, but at a coffee shop halfway across town. We plan the entire sequence of events like a military operation. We are not going in there to argue or to plead. We are going in to present facts. Cold, hard, undeniable facts. You can't get emotional. Paul reminds me over a cup of black coffee. Your power is in your calmness. You're not an angry victim. You're a man presenting a case. Let the evidence do the shouting. He has prepared a short, edited video clip. It starts with my garage cam footage of the theft, then cuts to Elena's video from her porch, showing the same event from a different angle. It's seamless. He has also isolated the audio from Sharon's call. We select the most damning section, The part where she explicitly offers to make the misplaced bike reappear in exchange for me signing over the title, the donation part. It's short, less than 60 seconds, but it's utterly devastating. Paul has it all on a thumb drive, ready to go. He's also made a few calls. He's arranged for a neutral third-party paralegal to be present at the meeting to create an official transcript of the proceedings. Everything has to be by the book. We rehearse in a back booth at the coffee shop. Paul plays Sharon with a napkin crown. Elena records us on her phone and keeps laughing at Paul's fake polite voice. I practice my first line until it lands soft. No heat, just facts. Paul times the clip. 54 seconds. Short enough they can't breathe, he says. He slides me a donut for nerves. Also, evidence handling requires carbs. We print labels, title, VIN, AirTag path, call transcript, clean fonts, big dates. Elena brings t-shirts she made that say, "Let facts talk." I tell her I can't wear it. She wears two. My part is simple. During the open forum section of the meeting, I will stand up and ask to speak. I will not mention theft or extortion. I will simply state that I have a question for the board president regarding my outstanding fines and a proposal for a resolution. I will ask for permission to play a short audio clip to provide context. That's it. From there, the evidence will take over. The plan relies on Sharon's own hubris. She will see me defeated and humbled, and she will be eager to perform her victory in front of the other residents. She will grant me permission to speak, expecting me to beg for mercy. She won't be able to resist the opportunity to publicly shame me one last time. It's a trap baited with her own ego. The night of the meeting, I put on a clean shirt. I run a cloth over my boots. I feel that same cold calm I felt the night of the theft. My grandpa used to work on complex engines, carburetors with hundreds of tiny, intricate parts. He'd lay them all out on a clean rag in perfect order before reassembling them. He said, "If you get the order right, if you respect the process, it will always work." That's what tonight feels like. We've laid out all the parts. We've cleaned them, organized them. Now it's time for reassembly. Now it's time to see if the engine will start. I think about my bike sitting in a police impound lot. It's safe, but it's not home. Home is my garage. Home is the open road. This isn't just about a piece of metal. It's about the simple right to be left alone, the right to enjoy what's yours without some power-hungry tyrant trying to take it away. I walk to the community clubhouse. Other residents are filing in, carrying their own little grievances, complaints about parking, about weeds, about noisy neighbors, the mundane, everyday business of shared living. They don't know that tonight's meeting will be anything but mundane. I see Sharon at the front of the room, standing behind a podium. She's wearing a crisp white blazer, looking every bit the part of the competent, in-charge leader. She's smiling, greeting people by name. Cody is there, too, sitting in the front row, looking bored on his phone. He's her little prince, here to watch his mother rule her kingdom. I take a seat in the back row. I don't make eye contact with anyone. I just sit and wait. The trap is set. The bait is laid. All I have to do now is wait for the queen to walk right into it. The meeting drones on. Budget reports, landscaping committee updates, the new holiday decoration rules. I listen, I watch the clock. Sharon is in her element, wielding Robert's rules of order like a weapon, cutting off anyone who rambles, steering every conversation back to her own agenda. She's a master of bureaucratic control. Finally, she gets to the last item on the agenda. Open forum, she announces, her voice bright. Does any member of the community wish to address the board? This is it. I stand up. A few heads turn. I'm a known troublemaker, the guy with the loud motorcycle. All eyes go from me to Sharon, expecting fireworks. The board recognizes Mr. Foster, Sharon says, a tight, triumphant smile on her face. This is the moment she's been waiting for. I walk to the small microphone set up for residents. I keep my head down, my shoulders slumped just a little. I play the part of a beaten man. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. I begin, my voice quiet but clear. I'm here tonight to discuss the matter of my outstanding fines. I've had some recent, significant personal property loss, and it's forced me to reconsider my position. I can see Sharon preening. She thinks I'm about to fold. I would like to propose a settlement. I continue. But to explain my proposal, I need to provide some context. With the board's permission, I'd like to play a brief audio recording. Sharon's smile widens. She is magnanimous in her victory. Permission granted, Mr. Foster, she says, practically beaming. I nod. I pull the small thumb drive from my pocket and walk to the laptop connected to the room's sound system and projector. I plug it in. On screen, caller ID and numbers blurred, timestamp visible. Instead of my voice, it's hers. The audio file Paul prepared. Sharon's voice, captured from the recorded call. Think of it as a donation. You sign over the title to the bike, and I will personally see to it that all of your fines are waived, the entire slate wiped clean. A collective gasp goes through the room. People turn and stare at Sharon, whose face has gone white as a sheet. Her smile is gone, replaced by a mask of pure panic. Before she can say a word, I click the next file. The projector screen behind her flickers to life. It's the video, my garage cam footage of the dark tow truck, the two shadowy figures. Then it cuts to Elena's video, the same scene from across the street. Proof. Corroboration. The room erupts in murmurs. The board members sitting next to Sharon are leaning away from her, as if she's radioactive. Cody has his head in his hands, staring at the floor. Sharon grabs the microphone at the podium. This is fake. It's edited. It's slander, she shrieks, her voice cracking. But it's too late. The dam has broken. The other residents are on their feet shouting. Uncle Al is yelling about his fishing gnome. Another woman is shouting about a fine she got for her son's basketball hoop. All the little injustices, the petty tyrannies she inflicted, are boiling over. The board's vice president, a man who has always been in Sharon's shadow, stands up. He looks not at me, but at the other board members. I move for an immediate emergency executive session to discuss the conduct of the president, he says, his voice shaking but firm. Another board member seconds the motion. It's a coup. Cody blurts, "Mom, just stop," then clamps a hand over his mouth. The room hears it anyway. Uncle Al holds up a tiny fishing gnome like a trophy. Return of the King. Someone snorts. Laughter breaks the tension for one crazy second. Then the murmur swells again. A man in a suit near the back, quiet guy, never talks, steps forward. "She fined me for a wheelchair ramp," he says. The sound in the room changes. It's not gossip now, it's judgment. Sharon tries one last line. "I was protecting values." Elena fires back from her seat. Values don't hide tow trucks behind dumpsters. The board stops whispering and starts acting. Sharon looks utterly lost. Her power, built on a foundation of intimidation and carefully crafted rules, has crumbled in less than 2 minutes. The evidence was too clean, too direct. There's no room for her to lie her way out of it. As the board members begin to file out toward a back room, the main doors of the clubhouse swing open. Paul Jennings walks in, followed by 2 uniformed police officers and a woman in a business suit holding a badge, the state investigator. Paul walks right up to the podium, picks up the microphone Sharon had dropped, and taps it. "Good evening," he says, his voice calm and authoritative, cutting through the chaos. "My name is Paul Jennings from the state attorney's office. I believe we have a few things to discuss." The aftermath is swift and surgical. While the HOA board is imploding in a back room, Paul and the state investigator, a no-nonsense woman named Detective Reed, take control. The 2 police officers are there simply to keep the peace, which isn't hard. The angry residents have gone silent, watching the proceedings with a kind of stunned awe. Reed walks over to Sharon, who is standing frozen by the podium. "Sharon Vance," she says, her voice low and even. "We have a warrant to search your home and to seize all electronic devices and financial records related to your activities as president of the Homeowners Association. It was signed this afternoon by a judge. Service is immediate due to risk of spoliation." Sharon doesn't even protest. The fight has gone out of her. She just gives a weak, defeated nod. One of the officers quietly escorts her and a now sobbing Cody out of the clubhouse and toward her house down the street. Paul then addresses the remaining board members, who have emerged from their emergency session looking pale. He explains the situation clearly and concisely. "We have reason to believe Mrs. Vance has been using an unlicensed and in-bonded towing company for personal vendettas and has engaged in a pattern of extortion against residents. This is now an active state-level investigation." He has their full and terrified cooperation. The next morning, Paul, Detective Reed, and I drive to the tow lot. The Harley stays in City Impound. We're here for paper, logs, invoices, who ordered the job. It's not a big professional operation. It's a grimy, forgotten piece of industrial land with a chain-link fence and a rundown shack for an office. We pull up and a large man with a stained shirt and a suspicious scowl comes out of the shack. This must be Gus Keller, the owner of Apex Asset Recovery. He's all bluster at first. "This is private property. You got no business here," he growls. Reed just flashes her badge. Paul hands him a warrant to search the premises and inspect his records. All the air goes out of Gus Keller. He's a bully, but he's not stupid. He knows when the game is up. He leads us into the cluttered office. The place smells like stale cigarettes and desperation. I just do the jobs I'm paid for, he grumbles, trying to save himself. I get a call. I remove a vehicle. Paul is already looking at the work log on the desk. Show me the order for a Harley Davidson picked up 2 nights ago from this address, Paul says, giving him my address. Keller hesitates for a second, then sighs and pulls a greasy invoice from a spike on the wall. It's all there. The make and model of my bike, my address, the instructions. Remove and store off-site. Await further instructions. I ask about cameras. Keller jerks a thumb at a rusted pole. Old, don't work. Reed looks up at the live red LED and smiles. Funny. We step into the yard. A fading sign reads, 24-hour video. In the shack, a metal rack hums. A kid in a greasy cap reaches behind it. Reed's voice snaps like a whip. Hands off the DVR. He freezes, fingers on the power cord. She bags his hands, then the unit. Paul plugs the backup monitor into a side port and rolls it. Grainy but clear. A flatbed backs into my driveway. The timestamp matches my garage cam within a minute. Plate visible. Keller tries a new lie. Could be old. Paul taps the date. Yesterday. Reed nods to an officer. Photograph the screen. Frame 121 to 135. Outside, a forklift coughs and dies. The kid mutters an apology. I don't speak. I just watch the clip loop again. Truck door. My Harley. No sound, but it's loud anyway. Reed seals the DVR. Chain of custody started. Keller sags into a chair. Game over. Now it's paperwork. But the crucial part is who ordered the tow. It's not the HOA. The client is listed as Trent Consulting Services, with a P.O. box address a company Reed's team had already traced back to Sharon. It was a private job, masked to look like official business. This work order isn't from a homeowners association, Mr. Keller, Reed says, holding up the invoice. It's from a private citizen. You towed a vehicle from private property without the owner's consent and without a legitimate repossession order. That's illegal. Keller starts sweating. Look, she paid cash, said it was an abandoned vehicle on community property. He lies poorly. But we have the videos. We have the whole story. Reed starts writing out a list of citations: operating an unlicensed towing service, illegal impoundment, failure to report a towed vehicle to the police database. Each one carries a heavy fine. His little business is about to be buried in penalties. Faced with financial ruin and potential criminal charges, Gus Keller folds like a cheap suit. He starts talking. He tells them everything. How Sharon had used him a half-dozen times over the past year for problem vehicles. How she always paid in cash and told him to keep the cars or bikes off the books. How she had called him the afternoon after the standoff and told him to go get the motorcycle tonight, no matter what. He was her personal muscle, her deniable asset. He agrees to give a full sworn statement. He's just trying to save his own skin now, offering up his boss to the investigators. He's the final link in the chain, the direct connection between Sharon's order and the physical theft of my bike. We have her, not just for extortion, but for masterminding the entire crime. The paper trail is complete. The news spreads through the neighborhood like wildfire. Sharon Vance, our untouchable HOA queen, arrested. State investigation, extortion, illegal towing. It's all anyone can talk about. For the first time since she took over, the fear is gone, replaced by a sense of liberation. People who were once afraid to even paint their shutters the wrong color are now standing in their front yards talking to each other, sharing their own stories of Sharon's reign of terror. It turns out Uncle AL's gnome was just the tip of the iceberg. There were dozens of families she had targeted with bogus fines and threats, milking them for thousands of dollars in penalties that went into unaudited HOA accounts. It was never about property values. It was about power and money. With Sharon out on bail and facing a mountain of legal trouble, the neighborhood mobilizes. Elena Alvarez, who has become a local hero for her cell phone video, helps me and a few other neighbors draft a petition for a special meeting to recall the president and censure the board members who enabled her. It's all done by the book, following the association's own bylaws, the very rules Sharon used to manipulate everyone. We need signatures from 25% of the homeowners. We get more than 60% in 2 days. We go door to door. It's an easy sell. I just have to say, we're the people who are getting rid of Sharon Vance, and they grab a pen. People I've only ever waved to are shaking my hand, thanking me. They tell me their stories, a lien on a house for a cracked bird bath, a threat to foreclose over an unapproved mailbox. It was a systematic abuse of power. And now, finally, it was ending. The recall meeting is held a week later in the same clubhouse, but the atmosphere is completely different. It's not tense, it's energized. The room is packed. There's standing room only. The vice president, looking like a man who has aged 10 years in a week, calls the meeting to order. Sharon is there, sitting in the back with her lawyer. She looks small and tired. The fight is gone. The vote is just a formality, a show of hands. It's nearly unanimous. Sharon Vance is officially removed as president of the Homeowners Association. A cheer goes up in the room. It's a sound of pure, unadulterated relief. Next, a motion to terminate the contract with Apex Asset Recovery, unanimous. A motion to formally censure the remaining board members for their lack of oversight, passed. A motion to form a committee to review and revise the bylaws, to strip out the ambiguous language Sharon had exploited, unanimous. It's a revolution, a quiet suburban revolution fought with petitions and bylaws instead of pitchforks. It's about taking back control from a bully. In the weeks that follow, the whole tone of the neighborhood changes. A new temporary board is elected, people who actually seem to care about the community, not just controlling it. The first thing they do is declare a full amnesty on all outstanding fines levied under Sharon's presidency. The slate is wiped clean for everyone. They hire a forensic accountant to go through the books. It's not long before he finds where the money went. The charity Sharon wanted me to donate my bike to? It was a shell organization with one board member, her son, Cody. Emails show that donation made Cody the day one user. This was always for her son. I finally get my bike back from the impound lot. It's dusty but unharmed. I spend a full day in the garage cleaning it, polishing the chrome until it gleams. Every piece I wipe down feels like a small victory, like erasing a bad memory. I check the engine, the fluids, the chain. It's all perfect. It's whole again. It's mine. I stand back and look at it, the afternoon sun slanting through the garage window. My grandpa always said, a man's got to stand up for his own. If you don't, nobody else will. He wasn't just talking about fighting. He was talking about standing your ground, using your head, and doing what's right, even when it's hard. Sharon Vance tried to take something that wasn't hers. She found out that some things, and some people, don't back down. It's a Saturday, a month later, noon. The sun is high and warm. I'm in the garage, the big door wide open. The neighborhood feels different. It breathes easier. The oppressive weight of constant scrutiny is gone. Uncle AL's fishing gnome is back in his garden, proudly holding his little pole. The kid down the street has his basketball hoop back up. Small freedoms, but they matter. The new HOA board passed a new set of rules last week. They're simple, clear, and based on common sense. There's a noise ordinance, but it's a reasonable one based on city code and restricted to late-night hours. No more vague nonsense about aesthetic blight. It's a community governed by consent now, not by the whims of a single person. I run a soft cloth one last time over the bike's fuel tank. The reflection is so clear I can see the big oak tree across the street in perfect detail. The state's case against Sharon is moving forward. With the evidence Paul and I gathered, plus Gus Keller's testimony and the financial records, the prosecutors are confident she's facing multiple felony charges: extortion, conspiracy, grand theft. Her lawyer is trying to cut a deal, but Paul tells me the state is playing hardball. They want to make an example of her. Abuse of power, even on a small neighborhood scale, is still abuse. Her house went on the market last week. A big for sale sign is planted in the middle of her once manicured lawn, which is now looking a little shaggy. Nobody is forcing her to mow it. I swing a leg over the bike. The leather of the seat is warm from the sun. I slide the key into the ignition and turn it. The lights come on. The fuel pump hums. I hit the starter. The 88 cubic inch V-twin engine roars to life. It's a deep, satisfying rumble. The sound of a healthy machine. The sound of freedom. It's not offensively loud. The baffles do their job, keeping the peace. It's just present, a statement. I am here. This is mine. I let it warm up for a minute. The rhythmic potato-potato exhaust note a comforting sound. I pull on my gloves, my helmet, my old leather jacket, the same one I was wearing that day in the driveway. I back the bike out onto the street. The asphalt is warm. I click it into first gear and pull away from the curb. I take a slow ride through the neighborhood. I pass Elena's house. She's on her porch swing and gives me a big wave. I give her a nod back. I pass the park where kids are playing, their parents watching without a care in the world. I pass Sharon's house with the for sale sign. I don't feel anger. I don't feel joy. I just feel quiet. The problem has been fixed. The engine has been rebuilt. It's time to ride. I turn onto the main road, the one that leads out of the subdivision, out toward the highway and the hills beyond. The wind picks up, cool and clean. Some people might think this was all about a motorcycle. They'd be wrong. It was about a line. Sharon Vance drew a line and dared me to let her cross it. She thought I would back down, that I would trade my freedom for a quiet life. But a quiet life, bought at the price of your own self-respect, isn't quiet. It's a cage. My grandpa taught me to fix things that are broken, and this neighborhood was broken. The question was never if I would fight back, but how. You don't fight a bully by sinking to their level. You fight them with the truth, with patience, and with a folder full of paperwork. You let them build their own trap. You let them walk right into it. And you never, ever let them take what's yours.